Hello everyone, my name is Charlotte filling in for Chaz today. Today I will be talking about Netflix One Piece, a show that no doubt has won over a lot of viewers including myself. Netflix has created a small number of excellent shows based on American comic books, but it has repeatedly struggled to successfully translate Japanese manga and anime series for the small screen. It was simple to write off Netflix's new live-action adaptation of Eiichiro Oda's One Piece as just another dud in the making that would disappoint viewers regardless of whether they were fans of the source material, because the streamer has already released enough lukewarm, awkwardly westernized spins on classics like Death Note and Cowboy Bebop. One Piece works surprisingly well because it gets the really important things, like a strong sense of place and action sequences that feel natural, unlike Netflix's previous attempts to bring two-dimensional characters to life by approximating visual accuracy and recreating iconic shots from cartoons. One Piece tells the tale of how an unfailingly optimistic boy named Monkey D. Luffy, Iaki Godoy, finally sets out to fulfill his lifelong dream of becoming the king of all pirates, after years of being told he lacks the skills necessary to sail the high seas. The story is set in a world shaped by myths, monsters, and rampant swashbuckling piracy. As an orphan raised by a small group of unusually charitable marauders led by Shanks, Peter Gadiot, Luffy finds the swashbuckling lifestyle to be so alluring. From the exploring to the raiding to the inherent danger that goes along with it all, that he can't help but see it as the path he was meant to take. One Piece, created by Stephen Maeder and Matt Owens, spends a lot of time in tender flashbacks to Luffy's childhood as a fairly ordinary child, played by Colton Osorio, which helps establish how much of a fantastical and charmingly grim reality he and his friends come from. But the real heart of One Piece tale begins years before Luffy was born, on the pivotal day when the previous Gold Roger, Michael Dorman, the previous Pirate King, launched a worldwide quest for other pirates to find his legendary lost treasure in order to inherit his title. Finding a way to make the entire world of Oda's original One Piece feel both grounded enough for real-world actors to move around in and true enough to the bizarre whimsy of the books is one of the trickiest aspects of translating a lore-heavy fantasy like One Piece across mediums. No matter how much money a studio invests in source-accurate costuming or VFX to depict superhuman abilities, it's difficult to get invested in these kinds of shows if they can't create the impression that the on-screen characters exist in fully realized worlds inhabited by real people going about their daily lives off-screen. This was one of the issues with Cowboy Bebop on Netflix, which unintentionally had the effect of playing like a collection of dramatic and comedic short stories thrown together haphazardly around a lifeless central set piece. One Piece immediately avoids that problem by taking advantage of the production's on-location filming in Cape Town, South Africa, where Netflix built a number of enormous, painstakingly detailed sets, ideal to transform into iconic locations from Oda's world like the Going Merry, one of the many distinctive ships featured throughout the series, and the Barati, a floating restaurant on the sea housed in a boat shaped like a gigantic fish. One Piece on Netflix is able to create the impression that you can enter a living, breathing location with history because so much effort was put into capturing the energy of Oda's distinctive aesthetic sensibilities in its production design and then populating its scenes with a lot of whimsical background characters to make them feel alive. All of this aids in explaining how Luffy, a typical shonen protagonist who makes decisions based on his gut instincts, came to be the way he is today. Additionally, it aids in acclimating you to the untamed nature of One Piece setting, which grows more intense as more eccentric characters start to enter Luffy's life. For all of Luffy's charm and heart, which Godoy is uncannily adept at turning on and cranking up to almost maniacal degrees, what truly sets him apart are the peculiar abilities he acquires after rashly eating a magical fruit. While devil fruits deprive swimmers of their ability, they also render Luffy's body incredibly strong, flexible, and elastic like rubber. While those might not initially seem like the most interesting abilities to acquire, they give Luffy a formidable presence that attracts the attention of characters like the pirate Alvida, played by Ilya Isserles Paulino, and Garp, the Vice Admiral of the Marines who patrol the high seas, played by Vincent Regan. You can tell how much fun the show intends to have when One Piece's first high-bounty pirate tears through the animated CGI wanted poster introducing them. The show will chart the development of Luffy's reputation while he is out seeking out other members for his first real crew. Similar to how One Piece rich world-building helps Luffy feel like a fully realized person at the beginning of his own unique adventure, it also helps introduce you to Luffy's core group of allies as people who are all well into their own personal journeys by the time he crashes into their lives. As One Piece plot develops, it turns out that the renowned pirate hunter Roronoa Zoro, Makenyu, icy thief Nami, Emily Rudd, conflict-averse storyteller Usopp, Jacob Romero Gibson, and foul-mouthed chef Sanji, Taz Skylar, all have rather similar reasons for joining up with Luffy. More vicious pirates, like Buggy the Clown, Jeff Ward, loathe him because of the stretchy straw hat's sincerity and faith in other people's aspirations. Even though the One Piece is primarily focused on Luffy's quest, it also makes sure to frequently shift the spotlight to the other members of his crew to emphasize how, despite the fact that they are working together, they are still very much pursuing their own destinies in ways that take the show to narratively and aesthetically interesting places. One Piece really shines in these scenes as an action adventure with beautifully choreographed fight scenes that support the idea that this is a world full of ruthless robbers who raid for a living, and the occasionally superhuman with abilities like super speed or telekinetic dismemberment. Being able to make stretching abilities that work in two-dimensional art and animation hit the eye in a pleasing way with live action is simply not possible. So it would be a stretch to say that all of One Piece visual effects look fantastic. On a smaller scale, One Piece is able to sell Luffy's goofiness, but when he launches one of his large named attacks, much like in the manga, it can feel a little bit like the show has gone too far and can't be avoided. Every time One Piece really leans into faithfully imitating the anime's visuals, as is usually the case with these adaptations, it's a bit of a gamble. Here, though, many of those gambles work out well, and they're buttressed by enough heightened yet still very practically created moments of action that it all comes together as a better-than-average Netflix original aimed at the geek set. One Piece, like our flag, means death draws heavily from a long tradition of pirate tales that make it feel somewhat familiar, which is a big part of why it succeeds where Netflix's other anime adaptations have failed. Even with the stretching fish people and strange animals that people use as telephones, One Piece feels like a world you've seen bits and pieces of in other places being explored from a ridiculous and novel perspective. This makes it more than worth your attention and has all the makings of being a proper hit. I truly suggest you give the show a shot if you haven't already. Thank you all so much for watching.